Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Good, The Bad and The Rugby. Here are your hosts, Alex Payne, James Haskell, Mike Tindall, and our very special guest, Justin Harrison.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Do we have any Lions fans in the room today? Oh, you're good at what you do. Welcome, Justin.
All right, do we have any Wallaby fans in the room as well? There's one over there.
Security, if you could get those four out, that would be lovely, and we'll start the show properly.
How do you slip through the net?
Ladies and gents, it's very nice to see you all. Thank you so much for coming out, first of all. Are you all here to watch the Legends match a little bit later on? Yes. It's a big day for Tins. We're going to
Legends is quite a loose term,
It is, yeah. One or two who...
It's like they've just driven around any rugby clubs and found the drunkest people, herded them into a bus and sent them to Australia to get more drunk.
Paul Doran-Jones, 20 minutes of international rugby, a Lions legend.
I think there could be a death tonight. Honestly, I'm worried.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm worried. You've heard it first.
I'm worried because that means I've actually had to fucking drink water for the first time on tour.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, just
cramp's a thing.
We're obviously recording a podcast. We've got to do the thing, but I can see some of you got your phones and cameras out. It's fine. Want to do a bit of an off-the-record chat. You know, today want to share things. You know, let's just keep it in the room. Let's not post it on social media. Let's not get anyone cancelled. You know,
Again.
a couple of reasons why I'm getting divorced. I need the money. Can't afford to have any problems, right?
And from my side, there's a couple falling off the family WhatsApp group. I'd like to stay on it. So
He's it's not really a competition. It's not really a ladder that you can climb, but he is climbing it quite well. And I don't want you to ruin it for him, okay? Because he's one big plane crash away from being king. So and as a business, we need this quite desperately. So just keep your phones in your pockets. Don't get us cancelled. Thank you. If you do that.
I feel like that clause is compulsory for you because otherwise we're never going to hear a story from you at all.
That's
very true.
It's unlocked 80% of your material.
Yes, it does. That's why I have to caveat everything because, and also if you get offended, because obviously everyone in 2025 gets offended, and because you know you might want to feel like you can complain, feel free to do it. We won't give a shit. Nothing will change. But we've got producer Tom over there. Share your ideas. Don't bother telling me. Feel free to go to Tom afterwards. He's over there.
So, ladies and gents, welcome to the last ever episode of The Good, The Bad and The Rugby. We're putting it in the bin off the back of this. So what we're going to do, Tom, we do about an hour? Tom, an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. We're going to chat away. Obviously, the teams have dropped for the big game on Saturday. We'll do an hour and 15. We'll then stop record and we'll have a chat 10, 15 minutes or so. And then Tins is off to put his boots on for the first time in...
first time in, I think, 2 years. I think the prison documentary was the last. And I snapped my meniscus, so I haven't played since. I haven't rehabbed, so could be about 35 seconds where I get the ball once and then I'm hobbling off. But yeah, hey, for the love of the game.
And you are you playing as well?
Yeah,
walking heart attacks having to run out. I mean,
going out in the blaze of glory.
What I'm going to do is not going to be described as playing. Right. It'll be sort of close.
You will attend
close watching, hovering, directing. Yeah. And it'll probably look. Me running on is going to look like someone getting tasered. So it's a dance move or a taser move. Either way, I can assure you it's going to feel as painful as it looks.
Can you be the first player to ever come on a stretcher? That would be quite a good way to get it as well.
We've got more team doctors than
ruck.
team members.
Right.
We've got more medical people with our team down there than the Lions team have on tour.
Good.
I think the secret will be just keep moving. Just constantly, just be a blur of activity, but do nothing, don't get involved in anything.
Shout a lot,
lots
point
of talking, pointing.
Your man.
Yeah, your man, love that one, and good clear out, and you're like, you haven't done anything.
You're going to see a 6'8" pregnant snake statue out there. That's it. I'm just going to stand there like that, and just people can just be like a totem pole for the match.
Work off me.
People can just work around.
I reckon a couple of lads are hiding behind you.
It's a real shame we've actually got. Do we have to do a show, or can we just chat away like this, Tom? We have actually got a press record, right? So we're going to press record. We'll do an hour, and then we'll have.
Oh, you haven't recorded yet? That was some of my
best. Yeah, I shot my bolt too. That's the funniest I've ever been. As soon as we go record, none of us can speak.
I've got nothing.
I know. I've run out of ideas.
It'll be a 3-minute show.
Into the final moments, Alex Payne trying to keep this side going forward. Haskell takes it on now with just relentless chat, largely about himself. And there's Tindall to add the finishing touch of glamour and World Cup winning stories. That is how you podcast.
Hello, Dream Team, and welcome along to this week's episode of The Good, The Bad and The Rugby! We are amongst big friends here at Amy Park. We are, as always, proudly sponsored by our good friends at Continental Tyres, the official tyre partner of England Rugby. Whether on the rugby field or the road, you can trust Continental Tyres for exceptional safety, performance and grip. And as we have said already, will you give yourselves a massive cheer once again, because we are surrounded by about 300, very passionate, very noisy, very ready for Saturday. Lions fans, give yourselves a cheer! We are warming up nicely here in Melbourne.
And don't forget the one Wallaby.
Yeah. And one Wallaby, who's lost. I think they've been trying to get out for about 10 minutes, but they're being made to sit through this. So welcome to everybody. We're going to preview what is going to be a massive, massive game on Saturday. It's obviously not Tim's British and Irish Lions Legends debut that's taking place later on a little bit here against the classic Wallabies. That kicks off here at the stadium in around about a couple of hours' time, but we're going to look at the second test between the Wallabies and the Lions. It's happening just literally a stone's throw away at the MCG. It's going to be very special.
Yeah, joining Payno, the Lord, and myself is one of the greatest characters of our game. We're in for a treat. He made his Wallaby debut in 2001 in the victorious third test versus the Lions. He went on to win 34 caps for Australia and has since become one of the most respected voices in our game. You must have written this. Who the hell?
Read it all. Read it all, James, please.
Sorry.
That was
part of the deal.
That was part of the contract.
Part of the deal.
He looks great with his clothes off. He's a lovely, gentle lover. He's generous. He always buys the lads beers, and he always behaves on team social. It is the human broomstick. Can we get a big cheer for Justin Harrison?
Hey! How are you?
How am I?
Yeah, how are you? How are you
I don't know
sitting
how
here?
I am after that. I kind of felt like I was up in the air for a while, and then I came down to, it was sort of a back-handed sledging there.
It was. It was
yeah.
like, well, he knife you in the front, stroke you on the head, and knife you again.
Oh, that's all right. I'm a better rugby player than you are a DJ. So that's
Very true. Hey, I like
Obviously, you mean now. as well.
Right now, tonight. No, I'm good. It's great. It's great to see you blokes. Sometimes, you know, you get a chance to spend some time with people that you wanted to kill when you're on the paddock. So it's a different setting for us at the moment, you know, and I'm amongst some passionate Lions fans. So you are, I'm not lying to you, I feel a bit nervous. I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of here. I know where some of the exit points are. I'm doing a bit of a Jason Bourne at the moment. Where's the threats? Where's the exit?
Well, like Jeff Bourne, Jason's slightly overweight uncle.
Yeah.
Who didn't attend any special forces training.
Jim Bourne. He's twin brother from the Tower. But yeah, let's see where it takes us. Let's see how we go.
You know, it's been tough actually because we were in the back room. We sat down, and Justin sitting there reclining, drinking what was it, like orange bitters, and it's literally like, this is the first non-alcoholic drink that's passed my lips, and you know you're hitting rock bottom when you're just trying to hydrate off anything. You know it's been a big tour.
Well, yeah, it's the first time lemon lime bitters for the last 4 weeks. I mean, I've been enjoying the festivity of rugby that you people provide, so I figured I might as well get in. I might as well get in the liquid highway that everyone else seemed to be in. And so I've had a few beers. You know, the brown wrestler, we call beer the brown wrestler because you can never beat the brown wrestler, but you always take it on, right? So I'm trying to freshen myself up. Lemon, lime and bitters is the closest I'll come to non-alcohol, and I'm going to have some vodka in it later on to remind myself about it.
Well, that's your warm-up, isn't it?
That's my hydration plan. That's it. That's high performance.
When you do sit here, and particularly 01, because many of you, were any of you out here in 2001? Have we got any proper Hardys? We've got one or two. Great shirts, welcome along. But in 2001, you were described by Austin Healey on the eve of that third test as a plod, a plank and an ape. Does that...
I mean, two-thirds are definitely correct.
Right, yeah.
Just the ape.
But when you look
back,
just on Austin, first of all, was that just part of selling the show, or was there a genuine animosity?
I brought Austin along. Do you want to ask him as well? Yeah. I mean, his carry-on baggage, I'm sure he's got on someone's lugger.
For the podcast, we need to produce someone go, Justin just pointed to his pocket where he indicated there was a small Austin Healey.
Okay, so it's a talking thing, not a doing thing.
It's both. It's visual medium, it's both.
It's right, straight down the barrel, you got that right. So what was the question? Austin.
Take it what you wanted. Was it genuine or was it just selling the show?
Him or me,
both,
not liking him.
Between the two.
We've had an intense love affair since the Australia A game where I tried to punch his nose off. And then the game against the Brumbies where I sort of said, if you wave that finger out again, I'm going to put it somewhere that's going to make it very uncomfortable to run around on this paddock. And then he didn't play the third test, so I didn't get a chance, and he flew home and I won the series.
Wow. Wow. Mic drop. Mic drop. What do you remember of that, though? Because, that was a hell of a start to an international career, not just with Austin, but also your performance in that third test as well. It
was late to the game. Look, without getting the red folder out and having a "this is your life" story, I didn't play rugby till I was 19 years old. I was brought up in the Northern Territory, so rugby wasn't a thing for me. And then I found myself getting through some teams and Brumbies, and then all of a sudden I'm in an Australian camp with basically the world's best players at the time. Had every trophy there was to win, hugely experienced and very good squad. I played my 2 games and I hadn't made the third test. I was in the squad, 34 players, and basically my role was to try and injure John Eales or David Giffen because I knew I wasn't getting picked ahead of them. So I was the human missile at training. I was knocking people over, cleaning blokes out, hitting John Eales at the breakfast buffet sometimes to try and get him injured, get in the team. Geez, Goog's loving it. He loves this camp, doesn't he? I'm Goog, by the way, if I talk to myself in third person, that's what it means.
Where's that come from, actually?
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Googie the bad egg, apparently. You don't get to pick your nicknames, clearly, but yeah, apparently I'm a bit of a bad egg. My sort of dispute resolution is fairly abrupt and physical. And actually I met a guy in the country. I was doing a country talk one time, and he came up to me and said, "Oh, my name's Googie as well, and my nickname's Goog." And I was like, "Oh, cool, are we going to have a fight?" And he goes, no, mine's because I get laid all the time." He's like... So I had another beer with Jimmy Haskell and went home. Third test, I hadn't been selected. Thursday rolls around, I'm packing my bag to leave the camp, which means I'm trying to steal as much gear as I can. David Giffen, Rob McQueen comes down and says to me, "I've got a really important job for you. We've got a thing. We want you to be with the Wallaby group." And I think, he's going to name me in the team. And he leans forward, I lean forward, and he says, "We want you to be the water boy for the team on the Thursday." And this fair dinkum. And so I wanted to slap his nose off, but I sort of walk to let him out. David Giffen's at the front of the door because he wants to knock on it. I open it, he knocks. Justin, there's a bit of a stare off, and he says, "Well done, Goog. You're going to play." Well, I've just been ruled out because I've torn my hamstring. Management have said that they want you to play. Ewan McKenzie, the forwards coach, was there. And I said, "Well, that's a shit joke because Rod McQueen just told me I'm the water boy, so you can beat it." And he said, no, is Rod McQueen there? Management have been ringing his room to tell him that I'm out and you're in. So I found out I was in the test team before the head coach. I went from water boy to starting in the third test, just like that. So for all you young kids out there that are running water...
They're all wrong audience here, mate.
Average age is 90.
I'm not sure.
All you young kids in that camera there. So that was pretty surreal. So I didn't have much time to sort of think about it. And then all of a sudden I'm running on against Martin Johnson and his men. I felt like the whole world was there. It was just a fantastic experience. Just very, very surreal. Very fortunate, very privileged. Lots of things had to go right. And luckily, the last couple of minutes, it came our way.
We love our rivals, particularly in the UK and Ireland. Will you give a massive warm welcome to the one and only Justin Harrison? It's so good to have you here tonight. And we'll get into all that's to come on Saturday. There's been obviously team's name, which we'll get to in just a moment. I do just very quickly want to say a huge thanks to Harvey Norman, who've hooked us up with some top-tier next-gen AI PCs powered by Snapdragon. These machines are a game changer, especially for producer Tom, who I think has probably got one of the more stressful jobs on planet Earth, and has certainly got his work cut out editing tonight's madness.
Harvey Norman is an Australian-born retail giant and can be found across the UK and Ireland too, from cutting-edge tech to furniture and everything in between. Harvey Norman's got it all.
We are expecting 100,000 at the MCG on Saturday.
Yes.
How big a weekend is this? Not just for the Wallabies, but for Australian rugby in general.
Well, I think we can take the Australian bit out of it. I think world rugby, international rugby. So let's remind ourselves that Northern Hemisphere and this thing called rugby and the global nature of it. It's a global market, so we want every market to lean in. So it's not only important for our rugby ecosystem and rugby in Australia to capture hearts and minds and sweep everyone up and reawake the dormant fan that watched me win the series in 2001. All those sorts of things are really important. But listen, I know I'm not going to get any compliments, so I got to weave it in any way I can go.
Self-love is the best form of love, Justin.
Every time we mention it, you go ding.
And so let's talk about that. We need to be enthralled by this thing called the Festival of Rugby, and we need to be, enamoured by the ferociousness of the rivalry, but the camaraderie and friendship off the field, and that's what the essence of a Lions tour is. Now let's talk about Australian rugby. Absolutely, we need some success. We need some people to lean into watching the Wallaby product and have a waterfall effect for junior rugby, community rugby. The funding, all sorts of things are very important for a compelling series, and so we desperately want a Wallabies team to perform how we think they know they can. This Wallabies team has done enough, end of year tour against England. They've had the trauma of the exit of 23 World Cup, and this team has a degree of resilience. And people just want to see something of themselves how they imagine they would play when they wear a national jersey, and that's what we're desperate to see against what is. I mean, let's be frank. This is the best team in the world at the moment, the British and Irish Lions. There's no doubt about it. Well, they
oh
may
my
not
God.
be.
No one's African in here, are they? Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, let's say top three, right? But it's not.
I'm genuine.
Well, it's not playing like it. Let me get it. But I mean, come on. It's the four nations coming together, and the highest participation rates. England, huge revenue streams, lots of competitiveness, huge bank of IP and knowledge through a Six Nations campaign that's ferocious. We won't talk about the Froggies, but there's no way that you don't recognise this team as one of the best teams in the world from a performance point of view, and then from a fandom tribalism point of view. It's just amazing. It's amazing, and it is the best part of all the things of rugby that we see. British and Irish Lions tour is absolutely the best representation of what it is to be a part of the rugby family.
Go on, you guys and girls, give yourselves a cheer. It's very, very hard to disagree with that. You have teed it up. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now, but just to very quickly take you through the teams. We'll have a little start with the British and Irish Lions. So 3 changes to the starting 15 for the Lions. Andrew Porter will start on the loose head. Ellis Genge drops down to the bench. Ollie Chessum comes into the second row. Joe McCarthy, I don't think, has recovered from his foot injury. And Bundy Aki is in at 12 in place of Sione Tuipulotu, who has got a tight hamstring, I think it is. So it's Porter, Sheehan, Furlong, Itoje Chessum, the same back row of Byrne, Curry and Conan. Gibson, Park, Russell, Aki and Jones in the centres. Lowe, Freeman and Keenan in the back 3. And then on the bench, it's Kelleher, Ellis wears 17, Stewart. And then it's all changed. James Ryan comes onto the bench. Jack Morgan of Wales. We got in Wales for a hand. Can't believe I didn't tee that up better. Go on, Jack Morgan. Carry your country's hopes and carry them high.
They can't play rugby, but they can travel, can't they?
They certainly do. And they can sing.
No, that's unkind. That's unkind. They beat Japan the other day.
That's true.
Oh, come on. We're all in one now.
It took the second go, though.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say that.
Jack Morgan wears 20. Alex Mitchell wears 21. And if we're giving Jack Morgan a cheer at 20, can we have a massive cheer for number 22, ladies and gents? The man who's on his 4th tour. Owen Farrell is back in the Test Arena as well. 4th tour, 23rd game for the Lions, I think it is. And they're Blair Kinghorn of Scotland. We've got Scots in the room. We should have a little cheer for these. Thank you, sir. Well done. Well done. Blair Kinghorn comes onto the bench as well. So that is the Lions outfit. We'll ask the guys their views in just a moment. But in terms of Australia, same back line, 3 changes in the pack. So David Parecki comes in at hooker. Big Will Skelton into the second row. And on the blind side, Rob Valentini. So it's Slipper, Parecki, Alalatoa, Frost, Skelton, Valentini, Fraser McWright and Harry Wilson up front. And then in the backs, it's the same back line as I said. Jake Gordon, Tom Liner, Harry Potter, Lenny Kitau, Joseph Akuso Sueli'i, Max Jorgensen and Tom Wright. The bench, Pollard, Bell, Robertson, Jeremy Williams, Lange Gleeson, Carlo Desano, Tate McDermott and Ben Donaldson. Should we start with the Lions first of all? Is it a better team than Test 1 or have injuries? We understand that Gary Ringrose would have played, trained today, and his concussion protocols haven't been passed.
I think the team sort of picked itself with the injuries that have sort of come out. Obviously, Bundy coming on is I don't think Tuipulotu did, but as you say, he's got a tight hamstring. Then they would have played Ringrose, so it would have been Aki and Ringrose. But unfortunately, Ringrose has got the concussion symptoms that he's had. I think Andrew Porter coming in for Eales is an interesting one, but maybe more of a nod towards coming off the bench and being a wrecking ball in the second half. We lost the second half last week. Angus Bell coming on, and those guys did make a difference. So maybe it's just a role reversal. I think, when you're in the front row, you're only playing 42 minutes, so you're playing half each anyway. So I'm not sure it's that big a deal, but I'm sure Genji will use it to fire himself up. As we said, McCarthy, unfortunate again. Hopefully he doesn't end up going home and he's available next week. But Ollie Chesham coming in, we know he's done a job. He did a job at 6. And then all the injuries have sort of created shifts. It's interesting, Ben Eales dropped off the bench. Going into the first test, you would have argued that he's been one of the form back rowers. But I would still like to have seen a 6-2, if I'm honest. But and then you could have had Jack Morgan and Ben Earl on the bench. But anyway, I think it's sort of written itself, and history says that we haven't done that well in Melbourne, so they've got a job to do. And I know this isn't going to work in this crowd, but for the love of the game, I'd love to go to a decider anyway. I don't.
Should we do a quick straw poll? How many of you here would like to go to a decider? How many of you would like to close the series out this Saturday? They want their money.
They're all the ones going home on Monday.
I think it's going to be a very, very tough job for Australia. I think that side is a bit more physical, but I'm sure Goog will go on to the intricacies of line-out play and having to try and lift Will Skelton. I was at a lunch yesterday where he came towards the end of it, and Jesus Christ, he's a big man.
He is a big man.
But I think they've probably got more what they wanted to pick last week, and unfortunately with injuries and everything else. So their biggest challenge is to actually, this is shit or bust for them. I didn't feel they played like it was shit and bust last week. I think they were very safe. And, the one thing that we've seen when we went to that November series was they threw the ball around. They looked like they played towards their strengths are, which is a bit of chaos. And we didn't see that last week at all. It looked very sort of, is one-dimensional the wrong word, but we need them to, trust those players that they've got in the backs, which are absolute rockets. I think they need to bring their offloading game in a bit more, and hopefully then, we'll get our money's worth.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I feel for Genge a bit. It's always hard psychologically because, particularly when Eddie Jones took over England and he created the sort of moniker, the finishers, and, South Africa coined the bomb squad, and kind of the modern game was much more about kind of picking the right players at the right moment. So you have a squad of 45, 50 players, and you look at an opposition and go, right, this back row will suit this team, and this players will pick this team. And it's a smart way of doing things, but as a player, you always want to start. And I thought Eales was incredible, so it's obviously disappointing to be knocked to the bench. But I think if it's been explained to me that it is about the wider picture, then I think that makes sense. I think Jack Morgan coming in on the bench is brilliant. I think for me, he's been the most outstanding back row on this trip up to that first test. I thought obviously, we talked about Ty Burn, we talked about Tom Curry, both of them, put in world-class performances and kind of proved the critics wrong. But I think it's great for him to have an opportunity. I think he's been a shining light for Wales. I think, there are some other tough calls. I think for me, the romance of having Owen Farrell back, I thought he looked unbelievable against First Nation Pacifica. I thought his little touches, the way he controlled the ball, just his ability to pass and play people into space. And, it's little things that sometimes...
Running in for a fight whenever he could.
Yeah, running for a fight.
Showing his northern.
Safely in the knowledge that he wasn't going to get punched because of the TMO. Yeah. I love all the fake tough guys these days. Everyone's rushing in to have a fight, knowing full well no one's going to belt them. I tell you what, when someone does lose it and actually bang them, it'll make people think a bit twice. I mean, Henry Pollard got a bit of a tooling up, didn't he? When he lay on the back like a sort of a turtle panicking, when he looked up in the bigger, he was sort of like that moment where it's like, I think he might actually fill me in, and you never know. With some of those Pacific Island guys, it could get you.
He definitely needs to learn to keep his gum shelled in because he's going to get whacked at one point, isn't he? And it might help.
Well, I think Owen Farrell again. So much about rugby, is great, but obviously we talked about the financial issues and the need to grow the game and grow the younger fans, etc., etc.
Keep it light.
I will keep it light. But I think I will keep it light. I just think when Tom Curry got announced in the stadium and he got booed, and Owen Farrell, to have 100 caps for his country, to lead it, to win every domestic trophy, to be on his 22nd lines performance when he comes off the bench. I just think what recognition he deserves. I just hope that all this. Yeah, I think it's very. I think countries and fans can be passionate and say what they want to say and have an opinion. But I think once the decision's been made, you should always get behind your team. And if someone from your country hasn't been picked, when it's time to start, you have to get on with it. And the reason we do that as professional players, if we're in competition, I don't select the side because I would have selected myself every time I started. So I remember when I used to come into England camps or one of these camps, and I would say to these guys, and some of them would be a bit edgy and a bit weird, and some players are position haters, and they hate their opposition, they make life really weird. I just sit down and go, lads, we don't pick the team. I expect you can kick the fuck out of each other in training, but I said, let's just get on, let's help each other, let's do the best way. And if you get picked over me, the moment you get picked over me, I'm doing everything I can do to help you. And I think that's the same thing with fans and stuff. And I hope that he gets to come on. I hope that he comes on and puts in a shift and maybe kicks the winning goal and gets to seal it out. Because I just love a bit of romance, because I think the world needs that,
We love a bit of romance. Woohoo.
I'm not sure it's romance that you necessarily love, but anyway, let's move swiftly on.
No, it's the sex part. I get confused. It's not the dating part. It's not the date. It's the one bit in the middle. Yeah.
It's just the.
Yeah.
Wakey.
It's all that. You're amazing. Thanks for coming.
Your view, Justin. Do you look at this Lions team and think...
On what? On that?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. When you one professional sees another professional, we know, don't we?
Should have started with
It's a
Once
very
Upon a
different show.
Time. That was a fairy tale.
Yeah.
That's the life you imagine you're leading.
Yeah, no,
we know that's not true.
No, obviously not. It is.
It's a lot of
If anything, too much.
a lot of refusals, and it's very, very difficult to make love to a mirror.
It is.
But you do it.
But I look great. Honestly, at the moment, with my new leaden teeth and my new body, honestly, you'd have a go with that guy in the mirror. He's unbelievable.
I mean, if you could just pick up your confidence levels, I think you'd be
I know. The thing is, it's any wonder that I'm crying myself to sleep every night, isn't it? Is that sad? I don't know. It's a safe space, isn't it? Help me. And you're all laughing.
Justin, the team. Get back to this.
On that note.
Good, so welcome along. It's a family show.
Right, this is like the old us. We used to have fun before we became a commercial giant. By the way, when you listen to this back, it'll just be like,
Just turn this
I'm
off.
Haskell.
I've
Goodbye.
actually got a real job. I've got a real job. These two blokes do nothing. Well, you married into a job, and you're and you're still working out what
he
you
does
are.
have a job. It's Zara Phillips' husband.
I have some.
And I excel at it.
Very well.
Good,
Yeah.
so breakdown on Saturday is going to be key. There was. You go. I give up. I mean, there's no point.
Let's talk about, so Australian side, 6-2 split for a start, so it gives you a bit of an indication. What we need to do is introduce some pace into the game. And that can't be a choice, and it can't be looking for space and throwing the ball around. And the way that you most often need to do it is win collisions, right? Not without being demeaning or derogatory to you. It's clear. We didn't win the collision point in defence when we were defending, and we didn't win the collision when we were carrying. That's the only way we can bring pace into the game. Dictate terms in the tackle, second efforts above the ball. So that's what the back row of the Lions did very well. From the ground to the hips, that's where the game is won. Absolutely. That's where the game spends 80% of its time. Scrummaging at that level, breakdowns at that level, over 115 of them a game. Sometimes you do this to catch a line out, and then you introduce all of that ground warfare. The Lions have won that. The only way you can disrupt that is prepare for what that mess is going to look like before it happens. Will Skelton, Rob Valentini, Harry Wilson, bigger bodies to carry, more direct, get across the advantage line, give us a clear line of sight so the ball can be released for Tom Liner to have some space, go at the line, free up Joseph Suoli'i. He got the ball. There's too much throw and hope for him on the weekend. The defensive line was already on him, and he was trying to repair. Mistake. We made too many mistakes whilst trying to get on the front foot. So that selection makes more sense, probably. And the selection for the Lions, Jack Morgan. So you think about Jack Morgan, back row, he's an exceptional back rower. And what he does in a game, in a test match arena, is he's very clinical. All of his entry and exit points at breakdown are very precise and targeted and full of power and control. Very hard combination to exhibit power, but still being in control. Tyke Byrne and Curry, they're absolutely outstanding back rowers. But they're messy back rowers. They're not as clinical as Jack Morgan. And Genge, again, is clinical. He clinically attacks that scrum when he comes on. He's very precise and very targeted and very focused. That's what the Lions are going to do. They absolutely want to close out the game. The Wallabies want to introduce some pace and size. They need to fix their line out. So unfortunately, Matty Fessler's been the victim of that. Dave Parecki comes in. And so when you think about what the Lions did on the weekend, some very clever high ball box kicking, contestable to the sideline, then you've got to come off the sideline with a strong carry to regenerate pace. Harry Wilson was either at that breakdown or trying to get back to be first carry. What Ballatini does is you'll have an A and B option now. So you'll have one back row securing, and then you'll have another big body carrying. Then you've got this other human who's throwing a shadow over everyone, Will Skelton. So that's a better 3 options than the one that was available last week. They're the sorts of intricacies. And one of the challenges for Australia is that they need to be brave. They need to recognise that it was a strategy, the right strategy, poorly executed. And stay with strategy. A couple of personnel changes, but they're slotting into the same strategy. And that is the much harder path to choose when you're a team. When you're a team that loses and loses poorly, you try to reinvent a lot of things and strategy, and you invent skills, and you try and play a style of play that you're not used to and you can't. What this team will do now, get their strategy right, get their execution right, win the ball and carry it forward much more powerfully.
Is there faith, is there belief, is there excitement around this Wallaby team, or is there grumbling and concern?
Yeah, there is. And when you're coming off for 23, the journey starts there, right? Exit the World Cup having not made the final stages, not exiting pool. That was trauma. And so Joe Schmidt came in, and importantly, Joe Schmidt, we get it, right? Kiwis, and they're supposed to be the oracle of all things rugby, really. But anyway, what Australian rugby needs to recognise is that he's not the Messiah. We don't need one person to give us the answer. He came in, he was self-deprecating, he was very considered and knowledgeable in his approach. He took time to make statements that looked like a position. He let the environment inform him, and he let the players inform him about what their skill set was, what their requirements were, what the style of Australian rugby is, because it is a style and it is unique to Southern Hemisphere. And then he let that come through Super Rugby Pacific, and then he picked the squad accordingly. He took away a group of kids and also some men to the tour last year, and we saw signs of what that group can do. Problem solve on the field and the intensity of the cauldron of Twickenham and get a win. Which was winning a set piece scrum on halfway, pass, adventurous, take some risk, skill execution, high octane, 82nd minute, win the game. That's what Australia used to do, many times over, and that gave a lot of people some hope and some visual example of what hope can look like when you transfer it to action and it actually hits the dirt. So yeah, absolutely, we're all in. We're all in. I'm never not. Clushy the Clown could be coaching the team on Saturday, and I'm all in for this Wallaby team, right? I never lose. You poke the bear if you say you're not following the Wallabies. That's not what we're talking about. Do we think Joe Schmidt's a good coach? Yes, we do. Do we think he's done the right thing with this group of people and got some consistency and got the right athletes in the right mindset to produce one or two things world class on Saturday? Yes, absolutely.
Good. It's good to hear the confidence is building. What about for the Lions? What I want to ask you is the change for the Lions at 12 and 13. So Aki comes in to Tuipulotu with a hamstring. We understand it would have been Aki and Ringrose, but Ringrose is not fit to play. And so it's now Aki and Joe.
Could you say fair play to him to putting his hand up?
I know.
That's like, I tried to think of that myself. You missed out on the first test because you had that head knock. You're going to be selected for the second test. You come off the bench in the week and played, and you've got to this game and you're not right. That takes a break, because I'm not sure. Well, it depends on how bad the symptoms were, obviously. But that could be his last opportunity to play for the Lions potentially. For him to put his hand up, I think you can't underestimate how brave that is. Because I've done it in times in my career where I should have said I wasn't fit, but I tried to do it anyway. Didn't play very well, and it sort of undid it. And you can't go after the game. Well, by the way, I had a bit of a headache. I felt a bit sick. Everyone's like, "Shut up! You were just rubbish." So it's quite hard to do that. But I think him making that decision, just testament to how far the game's moved on. Because in your day, your head would fall off. You just glue it back on and carry on, wouldn't you?
If only we had the head of a Rugby Players Association to speak out how good that is that you made that call.
Imagine. Well, look, I think it would have been a combination. It's much harder now to find your way back on the field. There are a lot more. You pass through multiple sieves to highlight and identify and mitigate the risk of repeated head knock on field. And then once there is one, individual independent doctors swing into action. There's footage analysed. There's baseline testing that's been done already. There's a multitude of.
Sounds like you're reading a sponsors read of one of these things.
Well, it is, and then also importantly, because to get around I played in a time where you knew you were going to do a baseline test, so you on purpose tanked it, so that when you were actually knocked out, you passed it. So you bring the level down, but that doesn't happen anymore now. And so also there's things like interviews with partners, and has he had headaches? Has he got mood swings? I'm like, well, that's me every day of my life. So that's the wrong one. My wife said, you realise that who this person is you're describing from mood swings, but have a look at him. Of course he's going to be upset.
Don't worry about concussion. Nature's already had a go.
So yeah, look, it's a sign that the game again is, in amongst all of it's a violent disagreement, the game, right? There's bound to be injuries and there's bound to be health and trauma, but importantly, the game swings into action with a huge amount of resource around protecting the individual.
Oh man, and long may that be the case. Aki and Jones.
Yeah, I've always said this about centres and why I always thought at the start of this tour it would be a Scottish 10, 12, 13, because combinations are hard to gel. It's hard, especially around defensively, especially around the defensive press that the Lions play. You have to know what the guy inside and outside of you is going to do, and you have to be able to make those calls on the run. It's a stress test, and if I was looking at as Australia 10, 12 and sort of blindside wingers, and I would be looking to try and test that. Decoy runners and changing up and picking them apart to try and get Bundy to step in, and maybe Jones will react differently, being used to Tuipulotu. But generally they're pretty close as players, Aki and Tuipulotu. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. But if I was Australia, I'd definitely have a look at just mixing up around there and seeing if they get any change.
Brilliant. Okay, so we'll have a little look at sort of the actual head-to-heads, and actually the weather's, I think, going to be quite interesting as well. But before then, ladies and gents, we are going to bring in our tailor-made segment, which is brought to you by our friends at Charles Tyrwhitt, the official formal wear partner of the British and Irish Lions.
Think of it like building the ultimate British and Irish line. Instead of picking a squad, we're stitching together the best of the best.
Each week, we've been picking one key attribute, i.e. kicking, leadership, strength, playmaking, etc., and we'll make a case for which Lions legend gets the nod.
Then we stitch it all together, see what we've done there, boot by boot, bicep by bicep, and at the end of the series, we're going to have the definitive tailor-made line.
So in our team so far, we have our captain is Martin Johnson, our kicker is Owen Farrell, our enforcer strongman is founding member of the SAS, Paddy Mayne.
And every Lions team needs a world-class finisher. So today, we're going to pick speed.
Right, shall I go through them? And actually,
yes, please do.
You'd be very welcome to, if we've missed, we've picked out 4, okay? We've got one from each country. So many great Welsh finishers, but we've gone with Ieuan Evans, okay? He's one of only 12 players to have won on 2 tours. He's obviously chairman of the British and Irish Lions right now, so he's good to have as a friend.
And a good guy as well.
And a great man, absolutely brilliant man. And obviously he has been there, he's done it, he scored the series-winning try in 1989. From Ireland, we've got Sir Tony O'Reilly. Have we got any Irish friends in this evening?
Just before you go to Tony O'Reilly, I also scored my first 2 ever tries as a professional rugby player just by trailing Ieuan Evans, because no one could tackle him.
Really?
He's such a legend. No, because thank you for reminding me I never was a Lion.
Wait,
wow.
that dude's been waiting
I like
years.
You can have a pay rise.
Not for the Lions.
Hang on. Yeah, that one. Take him out. Yeah.
Be careful, MI5, they've done it before.
Whoa.
Allegedly.
I wish they f***ing would.
I was going to say something really bad, but
let's move on. So, take 2. From Ireland, Sir Tony O'Reilly, first tour with the Lions in South Africa in 1955 when he was 19. Still holds the record for the most tries scored in a Lions shirt with 38, and the record for the most test tries with 6. His 17 tries in 1 tour to New Zealand has stood as a record since 1959, and he played in 10 straight test matches. From England, we've gone with Jason Robinson. 10 Lions appearances, 0105, tours of Australia and New Zealand, 4 test matches, dual code international, obviously played for Great Britain as well, and his Lions career will be remembered for his outstanding display and that try at the Gabba in 2001, famously named Billy Whiz. And last but not least, from Scotland, Andy Irvine, who was a star player on 3 tours, cut his teeth on the all-conquering 1974 tour to South Africa, the Invincibles. He top scored on that with a record 156 points. He went up to 9 tests in all in the end, played on the wing in South Africa before reverting to fullback in New Zealand 4 years later, won 5 and drew 1 of his 9 tests. So, should we do it? We'll do it should we put it to the vote?
Yeah.
Give us a cheer if you think Ieuan Evans is our ultimate finisher. 3, 2, 1, cheer for Ieuan. Give us a cheer for Sir Tony O'Reilly. 3, 2, 1, cheer. Welcome to both the Irish people. Lovely to have you with us this afternoon. Give us a cheer if you want Andy Irvine of Scotland in your ultimate lion. And we got 2 from Scotland. And last but not least, and I think this might well win it, will you give us a cheer if you think Jason Robinson is our ultimate Lions speedster? J-Ro is in. It's quite a player now, with the greatest of compliments to the incredible Ieuan Evans, but Jason Robinson goes into our ultimate Lion, joins Jono as captain, Owen Farrell as kicker, our strong man is the founder of the SAS, Paddy Mayne, and our finisher and our speedster is Jason Robinson. That has got some skills.
Yeah, we've got 1 to go in our quest to build the ultimate tailor-made lion. The good people at Charles Tier are offering GBNR listeners an exclusive 20% off. Just use the code GBR20 online or in-store. That's GBR20 for 20% off everything.
A big thanks to Charles Tyrrett, and don't forget to cast your vote for next week's pick. Head to our socials now and tell us who's going to get the nod.
Thank you to the good people in the room for helping us. Can I ask you about weather this weekend? Apparently it's going to pour with rain. Is that a factor in the game?
Weather. Apparently it's going to be wet.
Does that change anything, something, everything?
A little, not really, though. I think all the athletes on there, particularly Northerners, have played in plenty of wet weather rugby. It may change, sort of the pace that the ball is moving through the hand. Those sorts of things are always wet weather adjustments. But the game that Australia needs to play to rediscover a powerful confrontational advantage line game is short passing. It's all about short. Take risk out of the game. Take risk away from what happens when the Lions full court press on defence, getting off the line. You're not going to get the ball through the hands, even if it's dry, to the edges of first or second phase. You've got to earn the right to go through them first, and ultimately that's where you want to break defensive lines. When you get broken in the middle, that is the hardest type of line break to repair. So not going around teams, whilst we get intoxicated by the thought of throwing it wide and everyone running these fantastic tries and Jason Robinson style. This game is going to be about confrontation, meeting force, inviting aggression and physicality and not static moments, but powerful confrontational moments with big groups of big men working hard to move the ball forward. And wet weather rugby is perfect for that.
I think the interesting... We know how good this Australia team is in transition. It seems to sit for them well. Ball's going to probably hit the deck more than it has been. I'd say the Lions' best player in transition is Hugh Jones. It always seems to bounce to him in some way, or he gets a fly hack through and he gets a run. But I think we've seen it in the past with this Australia team, when the ball's on the floor and they can get it up and away, they can, and the defence is not set, they can cause all sorts. So it could lead to multiple opportunities. It does sort of bring it back to that physicality, but that also will lead to mistakes in ball carries and balls on the floor, and hopefully then we'll see some opportunities in that transition play.
Okay. What is going to happen? Oh, before we do that, can you just whet the appetite for everyone here as to what the MCG is like with 95,000 people in? I mean, can you just... What should we be expecting as an occasion?
You do Bledisloe there?
No, Mike, I didn't play Bledisloe there. But
don't worry, I haven't been a Lion either, so don't worry about it.
You are in an hour, Tins. You are in an hour.
I played before at Bledisloe as a curtain raiser, Australian Barbarians side. It is amazing. It feels like the whole world is there. The game I was playing, actually, the Australian Barbarians, I was playing with David Campese, who's right up there with Austin.
Sorry about that.
Right up there with Austin Healey in terms of personality. Love you, Campo. So I'm playing this game, and I got selected as number 8. So for a lock to be selected as number 8 is quite enjoyable because you get to see some of the game and actually touch the ball, except for lineouts. And playing with Campo at that time, legend of the game, a bit like being able to play with your dad. It's a great honour. So I'm playing the game, and I had the ball at the back of my feet, and I dotted it over the line after a scrum, put it down. I'm jogging back to halfway, and David Campese comes in off his wing. He never comes in off his wing, especially to make tackles, but he's coming in. And I thought, he's coming in to say good day and well done. And I stick the mid out to shake his hand. And he leans into me and says, if you ever do that again, I'm getting you subbed off. They come here to watch me score tries, not you do that shit. And then and then trotted off like a Shetland pony back to his wing. Never spoke to him again. So MCG is fantastic to play on. David Campese, not so good to play with.
There's a life lesson. So what do we think will happen? It's about 10 p.m.
I'll be honest with you, right? And I know people boo, and we've already heard the thing. I think that this tour needs, or the Lions need this to go to a decider. I think we need a bit. I think for Australian rugby, I think it needs to happen. And you can boo me all you want, but looking at the way rugby is at the moment, the way the touring sides are, the way the game's gone, the fact that some of these games midweek weren't perhaps what we wanted them to be, with players not being released. You know, there's a bigger picture at play than you just winning to get a 3-0 whitewash. However, you know, I do think the Lions...
Or allowed to play.
Pardon?
Or allowed to play.
Or allowed to play, yeah.
Not released or blocked,
or blocked
by the Lions management.
Oh, were they blocked?
So, we said this.
Machiavellian plots, were there?
My goodness, we want you to be more competitive, but we're not going to let you use some of the players that you want to select because we've got... It's our right.
Oh, wow. You heard it here first.
There you go. Pot is bubbling.
Well, Pete Samu wasn't allowed to play.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But apparently the agreement says you have to play Super Rugby to feature. That would be their counter argument.
Yeah, okay. So he signed a contract to play for the Super Rugby franchises back here. So because he's played for Bordeaux, he's an Australian player, Australian eligible player for the Wallabies. You're telling me that one back row who hasn't played 5 minutes ago. Now it's terms of contract, absolutely. But yep, no problem. But don't come out and then say that you want more competitive teams to play against and then
That's a very good
block
point.
a pathway to do that.
Yeah, well said, Justin.
Well said. I'm not arguing. I'm just offering the
sounds like
counterpoint.
we're arguing.
No, I'm just offering the counterpoint. That's all I'm trying to do.
I think that...
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that too.
I wouldn't worry about it.
We can edit that.
It's not like the first time you've been in trouble. It's not like, you know, we'll be fine.
I think you've done worse if I look at your history rap sheet.
I think the Lions...
Knowledgeable rugby crowd.
I think the Lions will win. I think the Lions will win. My head says that. My heart, I'd love to see if Australia could put a performance and get it. It goes down to the cider and we win next week and it's all mega in Sydney and we all party and we tell all the stories as opposed to going, oh, we won 3-0 and we played a different side in the third test. Everyone got an opportunity and it was all fun and games and we went home without a real challenge, I think.
Okay.
But I think we're going to pump them.
Well, so it's interesting, right? Because I mean, New Zealand tour, provincial games have never been necessarily close, and probably the best and closest provincial games that the Lions have experienced. New Zealand, absolutely, and then 2001, Australia A beat them. Brumbies went very close, and then 2013, Brumbies beat them as well. This rhetoric around we haven't had the lead-up games, or we expected them to be close. I mean, every British and Irish Lions tour in my memory, and every other country but New Zealand, have been pretty big scores, 40, 50, the First Nations game the other night was everything we wanted to see, 24-19, that was a bit closer to an Australia A fixture, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We were AUNZ was a disappointment, absolutely. To be nilled in a game, that's a bit of a wet sandwich or a warm beer, but the second test is absolutely shaping to be everything that the tour has done previously, The slip, Kirtley Beale, that was a close game. 2001 had the Brisbane game was a blowout. So we're not in foreign territory. We're desperate, absolutely, James, to see Australia reach the potential that we know they have. Potential's a horrible word because it stays that if you keep saying it. You've got to turn it into action, and that's what the Australian team needs to do.
Obviously, I want the Lions to win overall, but I want for the game of rugby to Australia to be seen as needed as much as we do need it. I think this sport at the moment over here, people, the Australian public just like winners, so they need to be winning stuff to then drag people along. And the rugby union's fighting battles over here with AFL, losing players to Europe in terms of straight from the sort of pathway system. And I think we need that. We need that to ramp up, and that goes to a decider, and that means they have to win tomorrow. I quite like the fact that Tom Wright's saying that is aware that how big this game is, and as long as it's tight, I think what Smith has said to the players, look where they've come in the last year, has been is remarkable really from where this team started to where it is at the moment. And they lost by 8 points at the weekend. They've been tight in those games, and as long as they go out there and they put everything out there, that's what I want to see. I want to see I want to see ways of breaking down that defence. It's going to fly at you. If it's wet, it's coming quicker. You've got less time. Are you going to do the little dinks over the top? Are you going to take risks? and also just leave it all out there. And if they do that, look, it'll be a great game. I would like to see it go to decider because I think that makes sport great. But let's see.
The thing about wet games is they highlight the thing that all of us can access in this thing called rugby every level. You need to be very good at all the things that don't require skill. Get up first, get in harm's way, get on loose balls, make sure that you are provoking energy and excellence around you, communicating, pointing, directing, putting yourself in harm's way. That doesn't require any skill. Sharp in elbows, high in knees.
We're going to see a lot of that tonight,
from you tonight.
And I was pointing, directing.
Well, exactly. You're going to see.
High knees and elbows.
That's exactly
dancing.
why I had a career. But that's the key. When you get to this level of high-octane rugby, every athlete's conditioned pretty much the same. You're getting the same somatotype across positions, and all the scores are pretty similar. What you don't get is consistent all effort and passion, and that's the thing that we want to see from both teams, absolutely.
Okay, we will do a straw poll in here as to what you think will happen in just a moment or two. But before then, a very quick reminder, if you're watching on back at home and you would like to catch the second test between the Lions and Australia, you can stream Sky Sports with Now.
Yeah, Sky Sports is the only place to watch the 2 remaining matches of the Lions tour in the UK and Ireland.
And actually, if you have been watching it and following it, it's the last time on this tour that Ronan O'Gara and Dan Biggar are going to be hand-in-hand pitch side. Have you only been watching it back home? Honestly, they're like two naughty toddlers, the two of them, bickering, arguing, disagreeing.
I love when one of them goes, yeah, that's a great point, but I completely disagree.
Yeah, exactly. Normally Ronan. Both have been brilliant tourists, though, but Rog has to go back to work at La Rochelle on Sunday. So last chance to see those.
They're like the Timu version of Statler and Waldorf.
Exactly like that. Exactly like that. We're getting quite a lot of heat for the costume, the wardrobe as well. There's been quite a lot of complaints around like light beige colours, so we'll see what we can do on Saturday. Something to tune in for, in amongst the rugby as well. Haskell, you need to give us another line.
It's so easy to stream Sky Sports with Now. You get instant access to all the action, and you can add or remove memberships whenever you want.
Clear your diary for Saturday morning. Coverage of Australia versus the British and Irish Lions gets underway at 9:30 on Saturday morning. Head to nowtv.com and stream Sky Sports instantly. We're going to be back with you on Sunday for all the reaction to the test itself. We've got some tickets available for a live audience show in Sydney at the Establishment. That's on Thursday the 31st of July, ahead of the third test. We've got Haskell, the Lord, myself, along with rugby royalty. Justin's old teammate, second row partner, John Eales, is going to be joining us. He's in for quite a surprise, isn't he? He's quite he's quite a rugby politician. I'm not quite sure if he knows when he's joining.
I think we could see our first guest walk off, actually.
Yeah, possibly.
Do you reckon he'll have a good time?
I think that you'll get some. John is a very considered man of the people.
Right.
I'll tell you a quick story. Have I got
Please
time?
do, yeah.
So I'd arrived. I'd not long been back in Australia. 2019, 2020. I go to the butcher to get some steaks, sausages, with my 12-year-old son Hugo, and the butcher sort of a bit of a double take, and you think, and I'm like, he's recognised me, and he says to me, "Thanks very much. Thanks for everything you've done for Australian rugby. It's been amazing. I'm a big fan." And I'm nudging Hugo. I was like, "See that? See your old man still got it. You know, trust, honesty, integrity. You play the game hard, son. This is what happens. This is what it means to be a Wallaby." He's packing up all the meat. And then we go into a debate about lamb chops, 12, 14, 20. Oh, fuck it, you always eat them all anyway. 20, let's get 20 lamb chops, mate. Yeah, no problem, mate, no problem. Wrapping them all up, and then he puts the pay counter on. I've got the face recognition iPhone going. I said, "Mate, you know, how good he eats." And he said, "Oh, look, mate, I'll throw in the lamb chops. They're free. No problem, mate. I'll cover them." And I said, "Oh, wow, thanks very much. That's very kind of you." Nudging Hugo, fucking see that, mate. Your old man's fucking. This bloke gets it, right? He knows I'm a legend. And I said, "Thanks very much." And he goes, "No problem, John. You're welcome." And so I've just given my son a spiel about honesty and integrity, and I tapped that fucking card thing. "No problem, mate. See you later." And then my son's saying, "Oh, Papa, did he call you?" I said, "No, mate, sometimes they do that. They sort of, it's a joke for the Australian people. I've never been back to that butcher." And he thinks that John Eales lives in Maroubra in Sydney. And he's got a 12-year-old son called Hugo.
We'll have a round of applause for Justin, John, Harrison. It's been very good to have him here. So yeah, if you fancy joining us at the establishment on the 31st of July to talk pork chops with John Eales, or whoever it's going to be, we don't know. There's a link in the episode description box. The Good, the Bad and the Rugby are off on tour. If you guys are going to be back in the UK, we are in Warwick on the 29th of October, 30th we're in Birmingham, 31st of October we're in Cardiff, in November we're in Oxford on the 2nd, Reading on the 3rd, and on the 5th we're in Guildford. And I can promise you we don't record any of it, so it's far more of Hask falling off the rails and getting wildly out of control. So come and join us for that if you'd like to. Tickets are available at myticket.co.uk. Just very quickly, so you're about to go and put your boots back on for the first time in 2 years. Are you raising money tonight? What is the purpose of the Lions Legends against Wallabies Legends?
Raise money.
Give a load of washed up people a holiday in it.
Yeah.
And their wives a rest.
I think what's happening is we're going to test out the medical services at Amy Park. We did actually have to fill out a medical form, waiver form, or we did, I don't know about you blokes, and you know, they go through the questionnaire, name, age, weight. All of my numbers are just wrong, because I'm just trying to pretend that I'm still an athlete. And then it gets to medical cover, I said, good one. And then ambulance, I said, fast one.
It's been a lovely way to say farewell to you, Justin. It's been very nice to have you with us. One of the greats.
I mean, yeah, there is another charity match going on tomorrow, but I wouldn't want to play the Brittle Lions, as it says here. I mean, I think it's more accurate about the Lions. We're playing Brittle
Lions.
Box Hill Rugby Club tomorrow night, so you've got games coming out.
And actually, that's a really important one. So, as Tins mentions, on Friday, the 25th of July, if you're watching this and if you're in the area and you're looking for something to do tomorrow night, Brittle Lions are taking on Vosa Invitational 15, and they are raising funds for Matty, who was a former player who suffered a life-changing rugby injury. If you've got nothing to do tomorrow night, you want to go and have a beer, please go and support Matty's incredible 10-year recovery. There's live music, there's raffles, there's signed merch, and an unforgettable after-party. If you're looking for something to do and you're in Melbourne tomorrow night, go and have a look at Box Hill Rugby Club and get involved in supporting Matty. You are raising money tonight for Atlas Foundation and the Australian Rugby Foundation community projects as well. So good cause for good legends. Right, we will finish it with a straw poll. We've got our one Australian in here. On the queue, we'll go. If you think the Wallabies are going to win, we've got two. If you think
How loud are you?
If you think the Wallabies are going to win on Saturday, give us a cheer for the Wallabies.
Yes.
Better, not bad. And we'll just let it settle right down.
They managed to sneak a couple more in.
They found a couple of strays. We'll settle it back down and we'll finish with the question. If you think the Lions are going to win the MCG on Saturday, give us a cheer! Oh, it is good, isn't it? That feels good. It is very good when the Lions get themselves going. So we will finish by saying thank you so much to all of our live audience here at Amy Park. If you have enjoyed the show, please leave us a review, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you as always to our incredible sponsors at Continental Tyres, the official tyre partner to England Rugby. And remember, if you're looking for an award-winning tyre that can keep up with your every move, look no further than Continental Tyres. We're a Folding Pocket production, stats and facts provided by Russ Petty. This episode was produced by Tom. Can we have a massive round of applause for our very long-suffering, incredibly patient producer, Tom Edwards.
Give us a wave, Tom.
Hey, give us a wave.
Tom.
And all the GBR team who've hopefully... Nick is at the back as well. Give us a wave, Nick. And Sam. And where all the team are. We've been very well looked after. So thank you to our GBR team as well. Ollie, Tommy, they all love it. And we'll finish with a final massive thanks, ladies and gents, please, to the 3 stars up on the show. Good luck to Justin and to Tins. Thank you to Hask. Please give an enormous round of applause. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy Saturday when it comes. Thank you so much. Good night, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Good, The Bad, and The Rugby. With Alex Payne, James Haskell and Mike Tindall. Thanks for listening.